I think this has been something of an entirely different order than we saw in Trump 1. Trump 2 is madder, he's radicalised, and he's more authoritarian. And that has huge implications for the United States and for the world. And I think in this hour of the show, it is just at the end of the year worth thinking about the consequences of those things and taking stock about him, what he's done, how he's did it, and asking you whether you think that Trump's term has been even more bonkers, even madder than you thought it would be. Or maybe you think, actually, he's done some good things and he has got some successes under his belt, which we'll talk about as well. 0345 6060 973. Let's just review a little bit. Trump's first term was chaos. This term, as I say, madder, more radicalised, more authoritarian, and he's getting rich while he's doing it. He is taking America into full-on banana republic territory at times. What did we learn overnight? He has renamed a whole suite of new American warships after, you guessed it, himself. Because nothing speaks for full-on narcissism than a desire to see a fleet of American warships with your own fat, beaming face off the side. That is the model that he unveiled yesterday. That comes only a week after the renaming of the Kennedy Arts Center in Washington, D.C., a very august institution, been named after President Kennedy for decades, the Trump Kennedy Arts Center. And they had the gall to congratulate President Kennedy, who has been dead since 1963, for the privilege of it. Not often you usually congratulate people who have been dead for the best part of 60 years. But this is Trump's America. Let's look at the money. $800 million in crypto for the Trump estate in 6 months. $11 billion in holdings. Whilst who is regulating crypto? Well, it's Donald Trump. Companies donate to his inauguration. The investigations into those companies disappear. It's not corruption. It's a Trump subscription service. The madness. He posted AI videos of Trump Gaza, luxury resorts with a golden statue of himself. Then actually proposed seizing Gaza, displacing 2 million Palestinians for, you guessed it, Trump hotels. Ethnic cleansing as a business plan. The Riviera of the Middle East. He demolished the White House East Wing overnight. No vote, just bulldozed it, all for a gold ballroom. He had a Saudi Arabian leader in the Oval Office, and I swear to God, he was looking around the Oval Office, and the Saudi Arabian was probably saying to himself, Jesus, Don, you've gone a bit overboard here with the gold. He's named warships after himself, the USS Trump. He's blamed DEI for a helicopter crash. Charlie Kirk got assassinated and Trump's eulogy became a campaign rally. He called Somalian Americans garbage. He told Lesotho that nobody's ever heard of them. He threatened Rob Reiner with investigation for criticism. When Zelensky came in to discuss Ukraine, Trump pitched him crypto. It goes on, it goes on, and it goes on. And scholars will say, looking at the US under Trump in Trump 2, as opposed to Trump 1, when the guy just didn't really know what he was doing, it reminds you of something. It reminds you of Hungary. It reminds you of India. It reminds you of Turkey. Personal enrichment, attacking judges, purging opposition, purging academic institutions, seizing assets, even deporting his own citizens and refusing to recover them. Seizing Venezuelan oil tankers, bombing Venezuela without any legal authority to do so whatsoever. The first term was about testing limits. The second term has been smashing through them in every single direction. This is increasingly a banana republic where the guy in charge has his own Truth Social account. Just let's go through some of the things that we've seen through the course of this year, just to remind ourselves of the extraordinary headspin that has been Trump 2. Perhaps the absolute nadir to start with. In the Oval Office, with Zelensky and Trump, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance invite the leader of a nation which has been invaded to berate him for the whole world to see.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
I'm not
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influenced.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influenced.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
That summed up a lot of where Trump has taken the United States under his presidency. American presidents, yeah, they always had hard power, but they always knew the value of American values. They didn't insist that allies had to bend the knee in public. They didn't insist that you had to show fealty at the court of the leader. Donald Trump does, because that's the sort of power that he respects. The weak must suffer what they must. And then if you add onto that, never mind the geopolitical stuff, which we can talk more about, because I don't think in Europe we've really woken up to the transformation that has taken place at the heart of American foreign policy. Just think about the little moments that with any other president would have dominated the news cycle for day after day, would probably have imperiled their political authority. Think how often we spoke about Joe Biden's infirmity, rightly so. And yet sometimes we have a man from the Oval Office speaking from the White House podium who frankly sounds completely deranged, perhaps because he is. Remember the tragic helicopter, remember the crash that we saw with the various different planes and so on, the helicopter crash that we saw towards the start of the year. Did Donald Trump blame American policy in this matter or for retrenchment in the federal government without any investigation whatsoever? What did he decide? Who did he decide was to blame? It was DEI.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine?
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense.
And then there is the radicalisation that we're seeing in every direction, something we can talk a little bit more about, which is that under Trump 1, Trump was uncertain, unsure of what to do in terms of how far he could push the boundaries of acceptable debate. This time, he and his movement, principally, are completely unleashed. One of the most revealing moments, only a couple of weeks ago. You might remember that back in Trump 1, he was accused of describing various countries, including Somalia, in private as an S-hole country. Why do we take so many people from S-hole countries? Why can't we just have more people from Norway or from Sweden and so on? I wonder why he identifies those countries. And yet the other day, at the time he denied all of that because he said, no, I'm the least racist person you've ever interviewed, he said. Yet the other day when he was at a rally, he openly said it. He openly used those exact words. What had created a complete furore back in 2018, I think it was, barely even created a murmur in the media environment today because it was all received wisdom. He talks of a Somali American congresswoman as garbage and repeatedly says that she should be deported. J.D. Vance, in exactly that vein the other day, in a hilarious way, referred to Minneapolis as Mogadishu. Oh, Freudian slip, lol, talking about a local politician there as a Somalian who should go back to his home. He was in fact born in Washington, D.C. This crass racism, xenophobia, bigotry has been normalized to an extent that I think only a year or two, a few years ago, would have made our eyes water. And then in that vein as well, we don't just see it in racism, we see it in all sorts of ways. Sexism, for example. Just the other day, or in November, President Trump telling a Bloomberg News correspondent, Catherine Lucy, this during a press gaggle on Air Force One.
Incriminating in the files,
Quiet piggy. Quiet piggy. to a female journalist. Again, imagine if Biden or Obama or Bush or anybody had said it like that. It's glib, I know, because we can roll our eyes and go, well, he's not there. He gets away with anything and everything. But that's the point. That is how Trump does it. He assaults our political senses. And he's been doing it even more in Trump 2. He exhausts us to the point of complete weariness. But that is how bad politicians do bad things. And therefore, it is worth considering just how different Trump 2 has been compared to Trump 1. And then there are moments which again reflect his unique character as an American president. A president who seeks to divide and not unite. All presidents are, by definition, political. They all have political agendas, they all have political enemies, and they have allies. But I cannot think, and this is something endemic to his particular form of populism, I cannot think of an American president who leans so consistently to invective and to darkness and to the demonization of his opponents. Something, again, which has been on full display in Trump 2. Consider Trump speaking in September at Charlie Kirk's memorial.
He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
I can't stand my opponent. I can't stand my opponent. In one sense, that reflects Trump's genius. He is authentically himself, and he is authentically a pretty small, narrow man. And he is doubtless full of dislike and invective in a way that few politicians are, at least so publicly. He does reveal that about himself. You can't accuse him in that regard of being dishonest. But again, to infuse American politics in that way is something new, and something that he didn't even do much of in Trump 1. And this is my argument. This is a different sort of politician. We have become inured to it. But this is different even from what we saw in the first 4 years. He is a darker character. He's a character motivated by different impulses. He is making America into a very different sort of country and is seeking to impose that on the rest of the world. How extraordinary that at this very moment, Trump is not only naming warships after himself, but he is seizing warships or seizing ships from foreign countries with no legal authorization whatsoever. He's bombing that country with no legal authorization whatsoever. It creates barely a murmur in Europe, barely a murmur in Britain. We're just allowing Trump to do whatever he wants to do in the Americas, and indeed in the rest of the world. Perhaps the nadir of Trump foreign policy for this year was, of course, in February when he reshared the Trump Gaza video on Truth Social.
Donald is coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump.
The Riviera of the Middle East. Well, as we know, there is barely a building left standing in Gaza, and that was done with the active connivance of the American state and the support of the American state. Trump did get the ceasefire in the end, but pretty much at the point when there was nothing left in Gaza to save.